your name and what prompted you to go into writing?
Thank you very much, my distinguished colleagues. I am Chief Journalist Elder Sam Obina Ibe, Chairman, Correspondent Chapel of Abia State Council of Nigeria Union of Journalists. I write for Blueprint newspaper. I am a publisher. I'm an author. Now the question is that what really prompted you into going to writing books, being an author, metamorphosing from being a journalist to being a publisher to now being an author of 4 books. In the first place, journalism is a noble profession. It is a prestigious profession. During those days, when that innate ability, that dream of becoming one, was very much into us. We went into training. And I know what it takes, what really made me to be a journalist. Having graduated and started practicing. But from 2014 to 2015 to date, I discovered that the journalism profession practice has been turned upside down. In the sense that everybody now has metamorphosed into an emergency journalist. Training does not matter. No ethics, no obeying the rules of the profession. Garbage in, garbage out. Go to public functions, you don't comport yourself as a journalist, fight over money, fight over food, all these things. And I said, having been around in the profession, having stayed close to 3 decades and above, I've learned a lot in the profession. And I know that what that is obtainable in the industry now, in the field now, is not what it used to be. For some of us who are trained and licensed journalists, we know that journalism being a noble profession, it has ethics and the law we ought to obey. But we're not obeying it. And because we're not obeying it, everybody, you cannot go out of your way to malign a news source because you don't like his face. It is unethical. You must balance your story. So all these things are no longer in vogue. That was the reason why I said, let me go into journalism to see how, with my weight of experience, let me go into writing books to see how this sorry state of things can be corrected. And of course, it might interest me to tell you, during the first book, the very first maiden book, I traveled as far as Adamawa State, Taraba State, trying to fill the post of media practitioners over there, veteran journalists, media managers. I didn't stop at that. I covered the 5 eastern states, including Abia. And I did a telephone interview. I searched for materials online. All these aggregates gave me an insight of the decadence of the profession of journalism. I decided to put them together for the younger generation. Of course, you have me telling you today that my children said there's no money in journalism. They will not want to go into it. This same journalism is not the profession that made the lives of Femi Adesina, Smart Adeyemi, who was in the Senate, so many others. So you must put away. I am not writing off those in online media because I'm also learning from there. The thing is, I'm having a way of coming together where we can come together, see how we can redefine journalism practices. So that is what motivated me going into it. And of course, I'm the chairman, correspondent chapel. I'm serving on my 2 terms now. I've been confronted with why things are not done the way it should be done. In fact, in most cases, when we go out for public assignment, you see all roadside mechanic, you see bus drivers, when they see journalists conducting an interview, they will use their own midget, their own phone to put. If we are going back to basics, every journalist must go with midget. It's in that book. Unless we are in-house within the journalism circle, we can begin to use this. But when we go in outside this thing, where we are missed, let's go by that professional tool. That is midget tape recorder, called midget, professional name. If you go by it, of course, you might interest me to know that if you watch in public functions when we are conducting an interview, when we see our colleagues, I begin to remove phones that are not one of us. I begin to remove them. Come, you don't belong here. What are you doing here? This is not a jamboree. Okay? So these are what prompted me to go and see what I can add to. Of course, if you don't get it right at the practice level, those who are coming from schools, from universities and polytechnics and monotechnics, we don't know how you follow. Now we no longer crave for byline. We no longer have stories that are nowhere written. During those days when we are into journalism, you write your story is not published. You know you are not doing well. Or you write your story was prohibited in a way that you cannot recognize it as your original work. You are not doing well. But today, every story goes in. No gatekeeping process. So that is why we want to return to the glory, so that the upcoming ones will know this is how the profession should be.
All right, sir. You unveiled 2 books today. Can you give us an insight of what they are about and the names?
Okay, the 2 books is what I'm talking about. The first one is Professional Journalism Practice. Professional Journalism Practice under threat. Under threat. Threat in the sense that people that are interviewing me now, you are my colleagues, you are all my colleagues. Outside you people now, when we go out to conduct an interview, there are others who will come and join. Okay? So we should be able to put hands together to rescue it, the sorry state of it. We should be able to. There are people who go to, there was somebody who gets crashed into this profession. You go to 10 news sources, writing for CNN. You go and collect money from them. So these are those threats we are talking about. As regards the first one. Now, after 3 years, this research work was carried on. You discovered that no respite yet. If there's anything, the thing is on the increase. Unprofessional conduct is on the increase. That was why I had to bring in new dimensions. Insight from media authorities. The other day we were at Mudike. You go into the book, you see the effort of Honorable Mbadewe Emelomba, Commissioner for Information in the State. You will go see media eggheads, media authorities, what they have said about it. That is that one. The second one, writing for print media, newspapers and magazine, came about as a result of when the first one came out. I presented it to my friend, Professor Greg Ibe, the Chancellor of Greville University. He said my wealth of experience can be useful to students studying mass communication. I should go there and deliver lecture to mass communication students, which I did in June 2021. That lecture that I delivered is a way of thanking that I decided to bring in a permanent form, in a book form. Techniques. What are those attributes? What are those requirements? Those requisites required the writing for newspapers and magazines. Talk about fake news reporting. Talk about 5Ws and H. How do you write features? How do you write fake news reporting when you talk about writing for newspapers? If you go to newspaper, style of newspaper is different from style of magazine. Why you use fake news reporting for newspapers? When you come to magazine, you use what is called verted pyramid. In other words, fake news reporting has to do with all these salient points are put in the first 2-3 paragraphs of your introduction. Whereas in feature writing, which is magazine, you don't bring it. The editors, all the main ingredients of news are buried at the bottom. You play. In future, you are allowed to interject your own ideas. Impressionistic writing. So these are the 2 differences. And of course, you discover most of the mass communication graduates from school, they come out and they don't know how to write news. So these are what inform me. Let them know how to write newspaper print media, which is basically newspaper and magazines.
So, sir,